I think
Oh,
we're just waiting for Walpole Media. I'm not sure who is in town hall.
Did they hear you?
Apparently she can't hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, is that Donnie with just the phone number showing up?
yes, probably. I'm on my cell phone.
Okay, I'm just making sure we have a quorum, so we do have a quorum. And it's 6:31, so we will start if we could. Good evening, everybody. The hour being after 6:30, I'd like to call the Tuesday, October 15th, 2024 School Building Committee meeting to order. This is a hybrid meeting. Those people with questions could email Mary Mortali at walpole.k12.ma.us or middleschoolproject@walpole.k12.ma.us. Our next order of business is approval of meeting minutes. Do we have any questions or comments about minutes? Hearing
My
none?
only comment is they're done really well. That's
Oh, good, good. You hear that, Mary? They're always done really well. So, do we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
motion.
We have a motion from Mr. Jeff Fisher, a second from Jack Fisher. Let me poll the committee. Mr. Friscia,
Yes.
Mr. Barrett,
Yes.
Dr. Kenny,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Jeff Fisher,
Yep.
Jack Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Senek.
Yes.
I vote yes. Did I miss anybody?
Yes. Jen Gassett.
And Jen, what's your vote?
Yes.
All right, very good.
And
Our
Carrie
next-
Ruggiero, too.
Oh, Carrie, I'm sorry. Your
That's
vote,
okay.
Carrie?
Yes.
All right, very good. Our next order of business is the project status update. Kate?
Yep, I'll hand this one over to Fontaine, and Griffin or Joel, if you'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it. Thanks, Kate. So this photo here, you can see that's the teacher parking lot. We get the binder down. Curbing will be wrapping up in the next week or so. And we'll be putting the top coat on that and striping that for turnover to the school on the 28th. So that's a big milestone there. Just another photo from the kind of opposite angle. So you'd be looking at the bus loop there where all the equipment is. So starting the 28th, I think the school plans to go into the permanent drop off with the bus loop and the parent loop. So parents will come in kind of on the bottom of the screen. Buses come in that top side. And then this here is kind of just shaping the slope from up on that parking lot down to the existing ball fields. So that kind of getting shaped out, and then that'll be seeded as Quigley, the site contractor, works its way out. This is the area we're sodding this week. So that was where we had that big stockpile. So all that material is in the fill underneath the parking lot now. So that sod will go down this week and then kind of work our way out from there back along that slope and out by like where that bus exit road is. This is just a look ahead. It's really landscaping, site finishing items at this point. Like I said, we'll be turning that parking lot over the end of the month, and then it's really just working out the bus road, get that taken back into the walkway that it was before, and some seating and a little bit of drainage. Yeah, this is basically what the drop-off loop will become. So that blue line is where the parents will come in and exit. The yellow line is where the buses will come in. And then our construction site is really just that orange, right there where Kate's going over on the bottom is where that bus road is. So we'll rip that up, get that back down to the walkway that it was, some seating. There's a little bit of drainage on the south side of it, and kind of work our way out towards East Street there.
Any questions on the construction update and then switching to phase 2C?
Nope, go right ahead, Kate.
All right, so something that has come up over the last month is a request for some snow removal equipment, to take care of the grounds of the new middle school. So this has come in, from the DPW. They are attachments to equipment they already have to, clear snow from the ground. So I don't know if there's anyone, if Carl or Rick want to touch on this, to provide a little bit more information, but, there's 3 attachments.
Any questions or comments about the snow removal equipment?
Quick question, where is this gonna get stored when it's not being used?
The pusher will probably be stored at the school site. The other 2 attachments would be at the DPW.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I take a motion to vote on the snow removal equipment.
Make a motion to approve $23,780 for snow removal equipment.
Very good. I have a motion from Jeff Fisher. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Dr. Kenny. Let me poll the committee. Mr. Frisha,
Yes.
Mr. Barrett,
Yes.
Dr. Kenny,
Yes.
Ms. Gaositz,
yes,
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Jeff Fisher, Jack Fisher,
Yes.
Carrie Rosario,
Yes.
Mr. Senek,
yes,
and I vote yes. It is a vote. Our next order of business is to review and vote the paving scope.
Yeah, so we introduced this at the last building committee meeting, and we have the DPW on to talk through this a little bit more. But the total for paving, are redoing sidewalks, paving streets, and then looking at the parking area with a contingency built in is $1,750,000. So I don't know if Rick or Carl, you want to talk to this at all?
Yeah, sure. So in terms of the roadways, anytime the town does any sort of large-scale project, we typically tie restoration of road surfaces into those. Examples would be a drainage project, a sewer project, a water project, and we've even gone as far as requested and actually required the gas company to repave roads that they've impacted during a construction project. This one had a good amount of utilities, particularly out on the East Street end, and the truck traffic that both of those roads recognized over the scope of this project was significant. Both of these roadways are in need of repair, and that's why the request was made.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, through you to Rick. The parking area proposed on East Street, how many spots is that? What does that look like?
Carl, can you speak to the amount of parking spots? I'm not sure of the number of parking spots, Jeff, but what it is, it's currently where people park along the fence line on the school side of East Street.
So is the fence moving and those are gonna be like perpendicular
Yes.
to the property, like you pull in?
Yes, exactly. The fence would have to be moved back. We may even have to relocate some of the poles. We're not certain yet along those lines, but Carl, the number of spots, I'm not sure. Would you know?
Yeah, unfortunately, Rick, I don't have that number right off the top of my head right now, and I'm not sure I can find a document quickly that we did on this. But they're not perpendicular; they're parallel to the road. So it's basically essentially pushing the curb of the road out to, out to the limits of the right of way, and moving the fence back, getting rid of the trees, and there are several poles in there. The more poles we have, we were able to lose or move more that. The more spaces you're going to get out of it.
So it's just gonna get them off the road more? I guess I'm just
Yeah,
not seeing, what is that, 10 spots for $277,000?
That's a good question. No, it isn't a lot of spots. That's correct. It's probably more than 10 because, at 20, there's more than 240 feet there. But you're correct. It's a high price to pay for, but essentially you're making the parking's being used now, and that it's not the safest situation because people are not, it's narrowing the road. They're opening the doors into the road and whatnot. So, I mean, it is what it is. So you can't. There's not a lot you can do. You got to box that out, pave it, and there's quite a bit of money in there for fences and trees and whatnot. So there's not a lot of options for that.
I just don't see the benefit. They've been parking there since the 60s. So.
Any other questions or comments?
I do have just
Oh.
a question
Yeah.
about
Dr. Kenny.
the cul-de-sacs, Beth, Edward, and Holly, those are just sidewalks, which were not there originally?
Those would be repairs to the existing sidewalks.
Were they damaged by trucks or materials?
They were not.
Oh, okay, just a question, thank you.
Yeah, the side, if I could on the sidewalks, just elaborate a little bit more. The sidewalks in that general area of that school, both sides are in different phases of disrepair. And this is a safety thing with the children walking and biking to school now. If you go look at some of those sidewalks, you'll see that they're in need of care.
Jack, you had a question?
Yeah, I'd like to offer the following. I can't support this. I think that we're talking about over $1.5 million to go ahead and rebuild, repair, restore municipal roadways and sideways away from the school project. This was never included in the part of the plan, and I think it's totally inappropriate at this particular point in time to consider taking this amount of money to repair roadways and sidewalks. It's one thing if you're gonna move the fence and do something about the parking right along East Street, but to go ahead and extend the sidewalks and repair the road all the way down to Plimpton Street and a long distance up on Washington Street, I just don't think is the proper use of the funds that were allocated specifically for this building project, not municipal roadways and sidewalks.
Thanks, Jack. Any other
Hey,
questions or
Mark, if I could
comments?
speak up, Johnson here.
Yeah, go
Mark,
ahead,
if I
Jim.
could speak up, sorry, I'm at practice here. I'd like to just kind of hold off on this one. I know originally I put a lot of time and effort putting these figures together for you guys. And I just kind of want to hold off for now until we have a full quorum and talk through some of these things. I went over this with Carl and Rick towards the end of the week. And we talked about maybe trying to work with TAP A and their landscape architect to make this all flow even better. So I'm not looking for a vote tonight, and just look to table it for a little bit more so we can coordinate with Kate and the team.
Thanks,
That
Jim.
makes sense?
Thanks, Jim. So to move things along, I will make a motion to table this until our next meeting. Do we have a second?
Yes.
I have a second from Jack Fisher. Let me poll the committee. Mr. Frisha,
Yes.
Mr. Barrett,
Yes.
Dr. Kenny,
Yes,
Ms. Gaositz,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Jeff Fisher.
Yeah, can I just add that
Yep.
we also see the design for that parking and kind of how that fence laid out, how many parking spaces we're gaining, and,
Right.
what are we benefiting for there? But,
Great,
yeah,
thanks.
Thanks.
So Jack Fisher,
Yes.
Ms. Ruggiero,
yes,
Mr. Senek,
Yes.
and I vote yes, it is a vote. So our next
Art-
order of business.
Art, can I
Yep.
add something?
Yep,
I just want to say that I agree with some of the sentiment that's been expressed here. I'm having a hard time with the numbers and how it's tied to the project, especially where some of the sidewalks are in nearby neighborhoods in disrepair and it wasn't caused by the project. It's a lot of money. So in order for me to vote on this, I'd like more information tying it into the actual school project if it is in fact part of the school project, because I'm still unclear on this. Thanks.
thanks, Jen. Our next order of business is the vendor invoice.
Excuse me, Mark, I
packages.
just wanted to, Mark, I had one other thing to add there too.
Go right ahead, Ben.
Because, we're obviously not talking about just redoing sidewalks off the cuff, right? There's kids that walk to school, kids that bike to school, and a lot of them in that neighborhood. And we've heard from them, speaking for myself on the select board, as far as the safety of those kids. And so I'm not speaking to the dollar value here, and I don't have an issue with putting this off, but I'd strongly recommend that, folks drive through there, take a look at those sidewalks, or even just go to Google Maps and see the lack of, wheelchair ramps and the state of some of those sidewalks and whatnot. So to say that it has nothing to do with the school is obviously wrong, right? But we can see what the dollar value comes back as. But I definitely encourage you all to do that and look at that fence next to the baseball field and the amount of room that's there. Just from my own experience parking down there, I think you could get close to 40 cars in there. Again, I'm not saying it's worth $250,000, but from a safety aspect, it's horrible. So either we make it safe by pushing the fence back and giving folks a place to park, or we put something there that eliminates parking. Those are really the only two options there in my mind. I know people have been parking there for 50 years, Jeff, but that doesn't make it safe. And every time somebody opens their door there, they're taking their life into their hands. So, and everyone's always talking about increased traffic on East Street. So I think I look forward to hearing additional information on this and the dollars, but I'd also encourage folks to kind of give it a think, go down there and take a look, and consider kids walking and biking to school and the traffic in that area the next time we get together. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Ben. Anybody else?
Can I add one thing to that, Ben? That's super helpful. I now am envisioning the area more that you're speaking about. I do think, though, that to the extent we're being asked to vote on it, it might be helpful to have some pictures or have a little more information so we can say, I'm certainly willing to go down there, but not everybody has time. So I don't know if we want to offer a tour of the area. It's just a lot of money, and some people might not be familiar with exactly what the safety concerns are and stuff if their kids aren't over there. So anything that we can bring so we can kind of illuminate what the actual problems are and safety concerns that we have here would be super helpful. Thank you for your input.
Thanks, Jen. Anybody else? So now our next order of business is the vendor invoice package. Kate?
Yep. So we have the Vertex invoice, TAP A. We have an invoice from Boston Carton Services. This was for dumpster removal. It was an old invoice that got missed when we were purging the schools. And then we have a technology invoice, an invoice for FF&E, and Fontaine's Rec. So standard invoices flipping through. Fontaine's Rec is for $2,786,213. And their contract is currently 95% complete through September. The updated budget is included in the vendor invoice package. An update on where we are with reimbursables from the MSBA is also included. So we're looking for a vote for $3,750,607.18 for the September invoices.
Thanks, Kate. Do we have any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'd take a motion to approve the vendor invoice package.
I'll move.
Motion for Mr. Jack Fisher. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Dr. Kenny. Let me poll the committee. Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Barrett?
Yes.
Dr. Kenny?
Yes.
Ms. Gaositz?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Jeff Fisher? Yep. Mr. Jack Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Ruggiero?
Yes.
Mr. Senek?
Yes.
And I vote yes, it is a vote. Next, Kate, MSBA.
Nothing new to report here. The quarterly change order review is up to date, and the OPM submissions are ongoing every month. And then just wanted to note the ribbon cutting ceremony is Wednesday, October 30th at 4:30. So I know the invite has been going around, but I wanted to bring it to everybody's attention. We hope to see you there.
Where's the invite coming from?
Yeah.
I haven't seen an invite.
Kate, are we going to get an invite mailed to members of the committee, or is this our invitation here?
I thought emails were going out, so I'll make sure the invite gets passed around in email.
Okay, very good, thank you. Other business, open discussions. Does anybody have any questions or comments about anything?
I have a quick question, Mark, if you don't
Yeah.
mind.
Go ahead, Ben.
So my understanding of the finalization of the MSBA process is that in order to receive the total reimbursement or final reimbursement, I'm not familiar with with the right verbiage there, but in order to close the project out, right, and get all the money the MSBA owes to us or is going to give us, we need to be able to submit to an audit of all of the funds that have been allocated to this project. And as I understand it, that audit can take anywhere from 12 to 18 months, depending on how many projects they have going on. And as we're looking at various change orders that are associated with the funds allocated to this project and whether we end up approving them or not, there is some portion of funds that's going to remain. And I'm curious as to how that would be, or what timeline that would be reallocated by the town. Some of the subtext that I'm hearing in some of these meetings is that folks think that if money is going to be spent, it should go back to town meeting. And I'm also aware that that is a sometimes years-long process, 6 to 18 months or whatever you want to pick. And so I want to be cognizant of, saying we're going to use this money or we're going to reallocate this money through town meeting and kicking that can down the road for a number of years and then not being able to close out the project and get our reimbursement. So I realize that's kind of a mouthful of information I just kind of tossed out there, but it's something I'd be interested in hearing more about, particularly if folks think that some of these funds. Well, no, I think that this committee needs to have that information before we either choose to utilize these funds or not.
Right.
So some sort of answer to that rambling question, and I apologize, there's a lot of information there. Some answer to that is going to be needed, in my view, by this committee in the next couple of meetings if they're going to be making.
On that.
All right, thanks,
Thanks.
Ben. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Kate. Anybody else? All right, next, Kate, you had a slide for our next meetings, November 12th and December
Yep.
10th?
Yeah, I bumped the meeting from November 5th because it was voting day to the 12th. So hopefully that works with people's calendars.
Great. Thanks, Kate.
And what was in December?
December 10th. All right, any final questions or comments? Hearing none, I take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion for Mr. Jeff Fisher. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second for Ms. Gaositz. Let me pull the committee. Mr. Frayshaw.
Yes.
Mr. Barrett.
Yes.
Dr. Kenny.
Yes.
Ms. Gaositz.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Jeff Fisher. Mr. Jack Fisher.
Yes.
Ms. Ruggiero.
Yes.
Mr. Senek.
Yes.
And I vote yes, it is a vote. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.